And there's been real progress made, but the stigma still exists, sometimes in places where you might not expect it.
Our health reporter Pauline Chan has the story of one young woman who proves success is no protection from illness.
I remember being like 4 and 5 and just crying and crying and crying and being upset when I was separated from my parents.
Looking back now, Cassandra Arthur recalls episodes of anxiety as a preschooler, but she did well in school, the highest average, student council president, involvement in a myriad of clubs.
Cassandra says the fact that she was such a high achiever in high school almost hindered her medical diagnosis.
Like even when I was put on suicide watch and put into the child psychiatric units, I was often kind of kicked out very quickly, even by the mental health team, because they're like, you know, you have 2 great parents, you're doing well in school, we have more serious cases coming in.
She says even medical staff can fall prey to the misconceptions about what a mental health patient is supposed to look like. The reality is it can affect anyone.
Especially in emergency rooms or dealing with very vulnerable people, can inadvertently say something or do something that's very hurtful for somebody who's in the midst of a crisis.
Anti-stigma researcher Heather Stewart says another form of stigma that prevents patients from getting help is self-stigma.
I guess the message we need to get out is that nobody chooses to have a mental illness. It's not your fault.
Cassandra recalls one time when she was also diagnosed with anemia in addition to her depression.
And I actually did a little happy dance. I was so thankful that I had something else to tell people.
But that was then, and now a few years later, with a better understanding of her own health and a more educated society, thanks to efforts like Bell Let's Talk, she can be more open about her struggles.
I feel definitely more comfortable with people closer to my age saying, I was having a hard time, I struggled a bit with depression, and I'm just like, okay.
Pauline Chan, CTV News.